With this year being the 20th anniversary of Cars, I've been doing a lot of thinking and reflecting on the history of the Cars diecast line, and one way I want to celebrate this big milestone is by looking through versions of different characters and different types and groups of diecast from over the years and ranking them. I have a lot of series on my channel where I talk about the history of the Cars diecast line. Currently, I'm doing my 20 Years of Favorite series where I review my favorite diecast from each year and also go into the history of that year of the diecast line at the start of each review. I, of course, have my Every Single Cars series, which acts as sort of a visual slideshow montage of each version of a character. And then we have the big one, Diecast History, where I go in depth into the history of each item. But something that I don't often do is go over my opinions on every version of a specific character. My major rule while recording Diecast History is never to give my personal opinion on the item. The goal of Diecast History is to be an unbiased history lesson on each diecast. I'll talk about if it was widely disliked or if it's just like genuinely a good looking model that looks like the character, but I won't go into my specific opinions. And I thought it'd be fun to, well, do exactly that here. Start a series going into my specific opinions on certain Cars diecasts, and I want to try to hit some of the main Cars characters and do tier lists ranking all their variants from over the years. And I thought, what better character to start off with than Doc Hudson himself. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video and to another tier list here on the channel. Today, we're going to be ranking every variant of Doc Hudson from the 155 scale Cars diecast line here in a tier list. I'm super excited. I think that Doc is a perfect character to start off with for doing tier lists on specific characters or types of cars here for the 20th anniversary, because Doc is such an iconic, important part of the first Cars movie, and he's a character that, you know, is mainly relevant in the first Cars movie, as of course Doc passes away after the events of Cars 1. So he's a character that's become very synonymous with the first Cars film, and he's also a character that, because he's mainly just in the first movie, doesn't have too many diecasts. Doc currently has 21 diecasts out, with one on the way, and I have all of them featured here in the tier list, listed in chronological order. So we're going to go through, and I'm just going to give you guys my casual opinions on each Doc. I'm very excited to do this, so let's get started. Doc has actually never been like a personal favorite of character of mine. He's a character that I do like. I think it's very hard to find someone who doesn't like the character of Doc Hudson. He has such a great arc and is tied into real-world racing history in a very cool way, and has, of course, a great performance from the late legendary Paul Newman. One of the best voice performances in the entire Cars series, quite frankly. But, you know, when it comes to his diecasts, a lot of them are pretty similar, and I think a lot of them are good. There are very few Doc diecasts where I'm like, whoa, that's so cool, but there are also very few where I'm like, oh, that's super lame. So I feel like we're going to have a lot of items sort of in the middle, and we're going to start off with a regular Doc here. The thing about regular Doc is that he looks good. Like I said, it's not an item that blows me away, but it's not an item that I think looks bad. The regular, typical Doc Hudson diecast has been almost exactly the same since 2006. It's been a very consistent release throughout the years with very few changes. There are some pretty notable annoyances with it. Those little parts on the back of Doc aren't painted, his logos and such. And, of course, everyone will mention the grille not being completely colored in like it is in the movie. You know, on all Doc diecasts except the Precision Series ones, it's just a big piece of silver. I don't really mind. That's just sort of what you get when you're translating it into toy form. But the parts not being painted in on Doc's back has always bothered me. I'm going to throw regular Doc in B tier here. I think that's perfectly fine for him. The Hudson Hornet, I think, is also probably going to end up in B tier. Not too much to say about him. It is simply Doc in his racing design. I think if you're more into real-world racing, maybe, or more into the character than I am, you may rank it a bit higher, but I think having Doc and the Hudson Hornet together in the same tier makes perfect sense. Funnily enough, of course, when this item first released, it didn't have red wheels and was given red wheels later on. I actually don't have the red wheel version, I just have the original one. But yeah, pretty solid items all around, just your two sort of main Docs. And then we have the headset variant of the fabulous Hudson Hornet. This was really the first major headset diecast that we got in the line. And I do think I'm going to put it in A tier, honestly. I think I'm going to put it above the other ones. Now, as you can see, all three of these docks have the exact same facial expression. In fact, nearly every dock has the exact same face. And I think that if we had docks with more unique facial expressions, like if the Fabulous Hudson Hornet had a different face, I think it would definitely be A tier instead of B tier. It would be a tier above the regular dock. But, of course, we're in the early era of the Cars diecast line where characters didn't really get other expressions. But unfortunately, when we moved out of that era, and nowadays we're at the point where, like, every variant gets a new face, that never really happened for Doc. Doc just consistently always gets the same faces, which is really a shame. So, this very much is just the Hudson Hornet, but with a headset. But I think it looks really, really good. If it had a different face, it may very well have made it into S tier, but as far as it goes, it's a great paint job, and I love the accessory attached to him, and of course this is also very important to the film, very standout moment in the movie. Up next we have Dirt Track Doc Hudson. This is a personal favorite of mine because it's just so weird and unique. Only ever released once in a 3-pack back in 2008, this is a regular Doc but with red wheels from the scene where Doc just goes on the dirt track and drives around. There really isn't too much to say about this one. It really is just a regular Doc with different colored wheels. I really want to put it in A tier, but I don't think that's right, honestly. I love how obscure it is. I love that it's just based on one scene. It's kind of a forgotten gem in the diecast line, but at the end of the day, it is just Doc with the same old face, and he's the exact same, except the wheels are a different color. So I don't think it would be fair to rank him higher, even though I do quite like it. Up next, we have Decked Out Doc Hudson. This is Doc's Christmas variant, and it's a pretty solid one. It's a very good-looking item. It's a very, very rare case of a Doc with a different face. I really like the wheels on this one. He also has the Christmas wreath on his front and the big Santa hat. This guy is going in A tier. Maybe he could go in S. Maybe. I'll have to see. Maybe we could shift him later. This is one of my personal favorite Christmas cars, but I think he belongs up here in A as one of the best Docs. Up next, we have the 5 Doc lenticulars. There's really not much to say with these. This is the original Doc lenticular where the eyes just open and close, and, I mean, they're really lame. I'm just going to drop the ones with eyes open and close in F tier, and regular Doc version 2 could go in F tier. And you know what will be nice? We'll put the Hudson Hornet ones in D tier because they are a little cooler, just from what I see. The expressions look okay, but with all lenticulars, of course, you do have the problem of the eyes, always looking like there are multiple eyes at any given time. Up next, we have the 2010 Doc Color Changer. I just got this item. It just joined my collection since it came back for 2026. It's a pretty good looking item. There's not much to say here. And it's traditional blue. It just looks like a lesser Doc Hudson. The blue isn't all that good. It's not very close to the original Doc coloring, unfortunately. And it does just look, a lot more like a plastic car than the color changers do nowadays, if that makes sense. Nowadays, the color changers are typically a pretty good match to their diecast counterparts. This one does feel kind of inferior to your typical Doc. When you change him to all black, he looks pretty slick. It's really nice, but I'm just going to drop it in C tier here. I don't think it belongs alongside the regular Doc variants. So now we've moved past 2010. So we're now in the sort of Cars 2 era, and of course, since Doc is no longer appearing in Cars media, and we're no longer just getting things from the first movie, the Doc diecasts do sort of slow down. I mean, look at this. This is a lot for just the first few years, right? We have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of the 22 Docs. Half of our Docs came from 2006 to 2010. Now, granted, basically half of those were lenticulars, but as you can see here, we have a lot of Docs from this early era, and over the following 15 years, that's crazy to think about, we have the other half of Docs. They certainly do get a lot more unique from here on out, though. Up first, we have Doc as Obi-Wan Kenobi from the Cars Star Wars crossover line. As far as casting goes, Doc as Obi-Wan is a pretty great pick. And as far as character design goes, I think this is really, really fun. They do a pretty great job modeling the classic Jedi robe design onto Doc. I like the lightsaber attached to the side. I think I'm going to drop this one in B tier. Maybe A? I don't know. Yeah, he's going to go in B tier, I think. Okay, we are going to move on to a very, very strong lineup of Docs next. I am very excited for these. From 2015, we have the fabulous Hudson Hornet with stand. This is just a re-release of the regular Hudson Hornet with headset, but now he comes with the War Wagon accessory, the cart that Doc sits on, that all the crew chiefs sit on. This is one of the rarest, most expensive Doc diecasts out there, and it's funny, because the Doc diecast itself is the exact same as the Hudson Hornet with headset. But the accessory that Doc comes with is so good that it makes this item worth nearly $100 online. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. This is one of the best accessories ever released in the Cars diecast line. It could have been sold on its own, as its own item, quite frankly. It would have been pretty funny, but it genuinely could have been. It's that good. It's something that everyone wants, to be able to have the full pit crew setup. It was only released once. We were going to get a Cars 3 version with Smokey. Unfortunately, it was canceled. So despite the fact that the dock in this pack is the exact same as a dock we already have, this is easily going right up in S tier. The dock here is already one of the best docks. He's already sitting comfortably in A tier. You had one of the best accessories ever made, and this whole thing was just sold as a deluxe. They easily could have tried to sell this as a 2-pack, but they made it a deluxe. This is S tier. Genuinely one of the best docks ever. This might be my personal favorite of all time. So we move into the Precision Series dock here, whose picture was very hilariously cropped, but we all know what this one looks like, of course. They fixed a lot of the issues with Doc here, making him more detailed than ever. He also has the opening hood, and yeah, he's just an all-around very solid item. I especially love how they updated the wheels on this guy. This is a very, very good upgrade to the traditional Doc, but compared to other Precision Series cars, it isn't as big of a change. And maybe that's just because the original Doc was so good, there wasn't too much to upgrade. You might expect this one to go in S tier, but I think I'm going to throw him in A tier. I think that's about fair. It's a really, really good upgrade to the original Doc. But I will say I was never the biggest fan of these big, thick silver outlines around the eyes. I think that really takes away from how the item looks and isn't as accurate as maybe they thought it would look, quite frankly. Anyway, up next, we have a truly fantastic item. This is the Comic-Con exclusive Precision Series Dirt Track Fabulous Hudson Hornet. This item is really good. This is Precision Series Doc repainted to be the Hudson Hornet. He has a new facial expression, which I think is a whole lot better than that of the regular Precision Series Doc. He has a very well done Precision Series version of the Hudson Hornet paint job, and I absolutely love the dirt track wheels here. He has all these dirt stains on his sides, even creeping onto the silver down here. He's got the nice red wheels, and to top it all off, he came with an incredibly cool display case box that looks like Doc's piston cups in the Doc Hudson Racing Museum. It even comes with the piston cups as accessories. This is an easy S tier. Just like the Hudson Hornet with stand, it takes an already good item and it just improves on it and makes it even better. Either of these could be the best Doc of all time, in my opinion. I think I prefer the one with the stand, but this is a really good Precision Series item. One where it's honestly a shame that it wasn't a regular release. Up next we have, this is the Wheel Action Driver's Doc. Part of a plastic gimmick line in 2016 where you just push down on the back wheels and the front wheels pop out and the mouth moves. This is just a really silly item from a very fun and funny line. I don't want to bash it too much. It's just a fun little gimmick line, and I really like the concept of having these cars where the mouths actually move. We'll throw it at the top of D tier. Actually, you know what? I don't usually... Should we rank these from worst to best in the tiers? You know what? Let's do that. Let's do that. Okay. I never really do this for the tier list, but a lot of people who do tier lists will have it be from worst to best in the tier list. Let's actually do that. These I'm going to keep because I really have no opinion on them, but I'm going to put Dirt Track Doc as the best of B tier. You know what? I think that's just fine. Should we... I actually think I like the regular Doc better than the Hudson Hornet for the original diecast. Okay, I think that's a good best to worst, in my opinion. Is this going to be super controversial? I don't know. I definitely think a lot of people will like the original regular Docs better and the Precision Series one a bit better than I do. Up next, we have Dirt Track Fabulous Hudson Hornet. This is the Cars 3 Dirt Track Fabulous Hudson Hornet. It's a very good item. It's basically just the original Hudson Hornet diecast. Even has the same face, although the prototype image looks a bit different. Trust me, it is the same face. But now he has the dirt on the sides. It's not as good as how the Precision Series model made it look. I think I like it better than the original Hudson Hornet, though I will say it's very annoying that this is the only Hudson Hornet diecast we get now. It's the only one we've gotten in the last almost 10 years. Since Cars 3 came out, we've only gotten this one. I'm going to rank it in high B tier above regular Doc and Hudson Hornet, but the regular Hudson Hornet really, really does need to come back. From 2020, we have one of the most forgotten diecast variants, I'd say, period. Not just of Doc, but just ever. This is Fabulous Hudson Hornet with Tire from a brief flashback scene in Cars 3 where Tire falls on the Hudson Hornet. I appreciate them going through the scenes of Cars 3 to find another variant of Doc that they could get from it. This is fun and it's unique, but it's really not all that interesting. I think I'm actually going to put him in the top of C tier here. This is a good item. It scratches my itch, my very particular niche of super obscure variants that I'm happy exist, but I mean, there's really not too much to say about this guy. It's pretty obscure, it's pretty forgotten. I don't think it's bad, so it's not in D or F. It's just fine. I guess it's a little below average because it's in C tier. This is one that I'm happy exists. But yeah, it's just kind of unnecessary. Not unnecessary, it's just kind of strange and unmemorable. That's the right word, unmemorable. Alright, the 2022 Color Changers Hudson Hornet. I was super excited to see them make a color changer Hudson Hornet. I was even more excited to see that it would change from red to blue. Back in 2020, we got a color changer Fabulous McQueen that changed from red to blue, and it's one of my favorite color changers of all time. It's genuinely one of my favorite cars of all time. Having a Fabulous McQueen that turns to a traditional red color scheme. And so you have McQueen in his classic red, and then in the unique Tuck Hudson tribute blue. And I love that we got the same color scheme for Doc here. Having a Doc that changes to red, a Hudson Hornet Doc that changes to red, whether intentional or not, makes it feel like a really cool sort of McQueen tribute Hudson Hornet. And it's genuinely a personal favorite of mine. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but honestly, S tier. Crazy. Just making the Hudson Hornet red makes me put it at the top of the list. But also, the blue it changes to is really, really nice. I like the sort of darker blue it changes to. Disney 100 Doc. This was our first ever sort of special edition Doc, which is kind of crazy to think, but then you remember, well, most of the expanded universe stuff we get takes place, you know, after Cars 2 and Cars 3. So Doc isn't incorporated often in special edition, anniversary, or expanded universe lines. So I'm very happy to see them think of him and include him in the D100 Disney 100th anniversary lineup. This is such a great line of these very cool silver statuesque items. And Doc is a very cool one to have. They, of course, based him off of the Hudson Hornet design. As you can see here, the way these worked is they were all sort of a platinum silver, every piece of them the exact same color, except for one piece, typically on their sides or front, that harkens back to the traditional design that is in their traditional color. So Doc got the Hudson Hornet writing in blue on his side. And this one, I think I'm going to have to put in the very top of A tier. We only have 2 items left. Up first, this is the 2024, I think it was, Color Changer Hudson Hornet variant. And this guy's pretty ugly. For the second Hudson Hornet color changer, which for the record only came out 2 years after the first one, this was not necessary to get so soon. It just changes to this really strange yellowish green color, similar to that DJ that released around the same time. The release DJ was interesting because we hadn't had a new color changer of him in a while. This Doc just changes to a weird and ugly color and was not necessary to get so soon after the last one. We're going to put him in D tier behind the wheel action drivers one. You know what, we'll stick him after the lenticulars. And finally, we have an item that isn't even out yet. This is our final Doc, the 2026 20th anniversary Doc Hudson. I am so excited to see Doc getting a 20th anniversary item. Of course, we have a few different anniversary lines coming out to celebrate 20 years of Cars. We have Race to Celebrate, which is an in-universe thing that takes place after Cars 3. And then we have a metallic lineup. And I really love that they went out of their way to include a Doc here. It's exclusive to a 2-pack, whereas the rest of these guys are in 2 different 5-packs. So to have a metallic Doc for the 20th anniversary, part of the 20th anniversary lineup, it's so cool, it's so special. I love that they remembered to include Doc here. It's a very important place to include him. Unfortunately, we don't have any items of this guy. We don't have any images of this item other than this one right here from the recently released 2026 poster. From what I'm seeing, I really like it. I think it'll look a lot better in person because it's going to be our first ever metallic Doc. A lot of these anniversary items look really great with some beautiful metallic colors. Of course, they all have gold 20th anniversary logos on the hood, gold lightning bolts on the side, gold wheels, and Doc also has some additional gold highlights on the hood and above his headlights here. I am going to put him, I think, solidly here in the middle of A tier. After D100, I think this one looks better. Also after, we started loading there. Also after Decked Out Doc, but before these other two here in A tier. And, I mean, once this item comes out, you could definitely see if my opinions change. Who knows? This maybe has the potential to be the best Doc of all time. We'll just have to wait and see. But there you have it, guys. This is my tier list of every Doc Hudson diecast from worst to best. Stop loading! Over the 20 years of the Cars diecast line. From worst to best, we have Color Changer Doc version 1, Color Changer? What? Lenticular Doc version 1, Lenticular Hudson Hornet version 1, Lenticular Doc version 2, 2024 Color Changer Hudson Hornet, Lenticular Pit Crew Member Hudson Hornet, Lenticular Hudson Hornet version 2, Wheel Action Drivers Doc, 2010 Color Changer Doc, Fabulous Hudson Hornet with tire, Doc as Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Fabulous Hudson Hornet, Doc Hudson, Dirt Track Fabulous Hudson Hornet, Dirt Track Doc, Precision Series Doc, Fabulous Hudson Hornet with headset, 20th Anniversary Doc Hudson, Decked Out Doc Hudson, Disney 100 Doc Hudson, 2022 Color Changers Doc Hudson, Precision Series Dirt Track Fabulous Hudson Hornet, and Pit Crew Member Fabulous Hudson Hornet with stand. Wow, I gotta say, this is a pretty consistent lineup. I knew a lot of Docs would be here sort of in the middle in B tier, but I was not expecting this many in A tier. A and B tier are tied, and for an item with 22, a character with 22 items, we have 3 up here in S tier. I think this is a pretty solid showing, and I can't wait to rank some other characters and, see what versions of them I like best and see how their lists compare to Doc. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what your favorite and least favorite Doc Hudson diecasts are down in the comments. Also, let me know which character I should rank the variants of next. I'm thinking maybe Surge or Fillmore, or maybe we should do someone outside of Radiator Springs, Chick Hicks or the King. I want to sort of focus on Cars 1 characters for now, but definitely let me know. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye now.